Hey there, it's Lenny Magill with the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop right here in San Diego, California. Today I want to show you the installation procedure for the extended magazine button. It's actually the extended checkered magazine button. If you get in here close, you'll see the checkering. There you go. And this is one we just got out of our machine shop. It hasn't even been anodized yet. But I wanted to get it out here because by the time you see this video, they will be anodized in 6 different colors. And we will tell you a couple things about the extended magazine release buttons. In fact, all the extended controls allow you to operate the gun easier, okay? So we're gonna do it in particular today for the new Glock 43X, which is really a hot gun. And of course, this is the 43X, same size as the standard 43 on the slide, the upper, but the frame is a little bit larger in length and in width. And because of that, you can get a great grip on this gun. I mean, this is the hottest thing going for Glock right now, the 43X, as well as the big brother, the 48. Same concept. The grip is a little bit longer, a little bit wider, gives you something better to hold on to. But the 48 has a longer slide than the 43X, just like so. You can see the difference there, about an inch or 3/4 of an inch to be quite honest. Now, from the factory Glock, they all come in silver. We do offer them in black as well. You'll notice on our website we have a couple of different options. We have the standard Glock sights, which is the kind of the U, the white U with the white dot. That's the standard offering from Glock for all their guns, basically. And for this particular run, they are also offering the 43 and the 48, 43X and the 48 with Ameriglow sights. That's what these are right here. And the Ameriglows, as you can see, have they're night sights, and they have a large dot in the front there, large orange dot, as well as a wider U, a wider notch in the back. And there's tritium encapsulated in both or all 3 of these dots here. So you have really kind of a neat option. The orange dot draws your eye to the front sight, which is what you want it to do during the day. And at nighttime, of course, they glow. They're kind of green, and they're pretty bright. You know, it's kind of cool when you go into a closet and you look at them and they pop up. So they also offer one other variation. They offer it with just standard Glock night sights, which aren't quite as sexy as that big orange button, but they are night sights. So the 48 and the 43X are available with 3 different options and sights, and we do have them both available in black or in silver. Okay, so that said, let's go ahead and talk about the extended control, which we're gonna do. This is the extended magazine release, also magazine button, you know, so typically, what you'll see here on the factory gun, it's very flat, and it's you know, nice shape, but it's maybe a little hard for people to operate. So we have created one that sticks up just a little bit further, maybe a little bit more attractive because of the checkering, and then also in the different colors makes it, you know, that you can customize your gun. But because it sticks up a little bit further, it's a little easier to depress. Does not interfere with holsters, does not automatically go off by itself. It's not too tall, but it's tall enough that makes a little bit of a difference in your ability to manipulate that button or control, hence the word extended controls, the handgun or the operation of that, which is to drop the magazine. So when you press the button, boom, magazine comes out. There it is. You'll notice that these 43X and 48 magazines have the orange follower, which is kind of new that Glock has started to do on their Gen 5 guns as well. A lot of people really like that because when it locks back, you can kind of see in there that it's orange. And you can see in a second that it's empty. All right, that's actually a very nice feature. So first objective, before we work on any guns, we're gonna drop the magazine. We're gonna look inside the chamber, make sure there are no rounds. Pull the trigger in a safe direction. Same thing over here. I'll drop the magazine. Okay, there you go. Empty. Rack the slide back. Pull the trigger in a safe direction. Now we got 2 safe guns to work on. I'm going to really do just the procedure on this one because the silver upper and the silver control will match up. It's a pretty simple procedure, although you need a couple of specialty tools and just a little bit of tricks here will help you get through this without a whole lot of frustration. The first objective is to go ahead and field strip the gun. And we do that in the same way that we do all Glocks. Start with a normal grip, bring my hand up over top, and squeeze back just a little bit, just to disengage the slide from the slide lock. All right, now we also sell an extended slide lock, which is the takedown lever, and it makes this procedure a lot easier, and that's another video, another product. All right, so here's the slide. Now I pulled back, I held down on both sides of the slide lock at the same time, and then push the slide forward, and it comes right off the top. So there's your upper, or slide. There's your lower, or your frame, okay? That's the kind of interchangeable terms there. And we're really going to be working with the lower because the magazine button lives in the lower. So we'll put that aside, and we're going to look at this magazine button and say, okay, we got to take it out, and how do we accomplish that? Now, what I want to show you is inside here. So look inside here really quick. I'm going to get a piece of paper so I can reflect some light into there, and it may be a little easier to see once I do that. Let's see here. Okay, there you go. See that silver spring? That's just a roll pin, basically, acts as a spring. So if I leave this thing right here, let's see how we're going to do this. Give myself another hand here. Let's see if I do that. And I can show you the button here. And if I depress the button, you're going to see the action. See, there's really not a lot of play. And that's the one thing that's different about this particular frame from the standard frame. It's very tight, not a lot of movement. And so what we have found, what I've found, kind of playing with this thing, is that it's difficult to take that spring out. Now, what we're trying to accomplish here, just so you can see, is you saw the spring come up into the magazine, and there's a small notch right here. Let me show you this side here. There's a small notch. And so the spring kind of comes up and goes into this notch and then comes over and gets caught right there, right on that little lip right there. So it goes up, boom. And then it's captured in there. And then when you push the button, it always wants to be here. You push the button in and it wants to spring back. That's the action. So it wants to be straight, but when you push it, it releases the magazine and then it'll spring back. Now, like I said, this spring that we're looking at, we're gonna go ahead and we want to scoop it out of that hole. So we have to push it over and scoop it up so it lays on top of the magazine here. It'll come to the center position. So in order to do that with the normal guns, the normal, like a Glock 19, Glock 17, etc., I would use a flathead screwdriver, just a long flathead screwdriver, just like this, and I'd stick it down in there, and I'd scoop it up and try to scoop this underneath the spring and try to get it up on top. And I found, it's not that easy with this particular tool. It can be done. It's a little bit more difficult, but I found I get a little bit more play if I use this, kind of pick that has a curve to it. All right, so that's what I'm going to use today. Now, of course, I want to be careful not to scratch it up too much, but at the same time, I'm going to get in here. Now, it's kind of hard to show you how I'm going to do this, but I'll show you what the technique is. Going in here like so, and I'm going to scoop it and lift it up over top of the button itself. I will say it's helpful to hold the button in so it doesn't move. So I'm going to hold it with my thumb over on this side, and I'm going to get in here, and I'm going to do the best job I can, and hopefully it won't be that hard. Let's see here. Let's see if how we do here today. 1, 2. Yep, like I tell you, this one is not an easy one to do because there's not a lot of play to get that out of that notch. So you really have to come up to the very top. All right, there, I got it. Okay, good. Now, let me go ahead and show you what it looks like inside so you can get a good feel for exactly what we're talking about, how we want this to look now. So now I've lifted it up over top of the event. Let's see here if I go, where are we? There we are. And you see how now it lives on top, so it's out of the notch. That's the objective right there. And it kind of looked like this from the other side. Let's see if I can turn it around and see what it looks like here. Yep, just like that. So I scooped it up out, and that's the first step. And it's a little bit, you know, cumbersome because it's so darn tight against the wall. There's not a lot of place to push it over. So it really comes at the very top, and you kind of need a tool like this. The flathead was almost too big to do it. There's a couple other tools you can use. Dental picks is, you know, basically the same concept, but I, like I said, have found by trial and error that this one is a little bit more difficult. Now, the next thing we need are a pair of needle nose pliers, because we're going to remove that spring. And a lot of people don't understand that the spring is just press fit into the frame. There's no glue, there's no screws, there's no attachment, so we can actually pull that straight out. So I'm going to take a pair of needle nose pliers, I'm going to reach in there, I'm going to grab hold of it. Am I? And here we go. See if I can see, that'd be good. Okay. And here it comes. And one last time, and I'll get it, and there it comes, right out like that. And that's how we're going to put it back in, by the way. So it comes out, there it is. That is the magazine release spring. And we sell a bunch of these because people will bend them. If it's bent in any shape or form, it's not going to function as intended. It's a, what, $2 item or so, I mean, but you have to have one. If you take your gun apart, this may come apart. Now, this typically never comes out of the gun unless you're replacing this piece. I'm going to put it here so I don't lose it. I'm going to go ahead now and take out the factory piece. I'm just going to push it straight out, and it's going to fall straight out, coming out from the left to the right side. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the new piece in and kind of get it situated before I do anything. Let's see if I can get it straightened up here. There we go. Okay. And that's what it's going to look like when we're done. It sticks up just a little bit more, and it's definitely a little bit, you know, flashier, a little bit blingier. And it's really more functional because it has better traction and you can get on it a little bit easier, okay, without adjusting your grip, having to get on top of it. You can really just push it from almost any position. All right, so now I've got it kind of positioned. I'm going to hold it in with my other side here, and I'm going to grab hold of this little spring and put it back in place. Now, this is how we do this. We just grab it, and I like to put it in a slight angle so it's just a little easier to get in there and come down. Now, you saw before that there's a V down here. I'm just going to stick it right into the V. That's all we're doing. There's no special handling here, no special skills required. Just stick it in there, and then we're going to push it down with the top of this particular set of pliers, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, let's get this set up so that it goes in. Now, because this is smaller than the standard Glocks, everything is a little bit tighter. Okay, there it goes. It started. Now, here's where I've got it started. Now, let's just look at it real quick before I go too much further. Okay, it's in the spot, but it's not all the way seated. So see how it kind of sits up there a little bit? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it down with the top or the flat part of this needle nose. Just get right on top of it and really get it anchored where it's supposed to be. And now you'll see this is where it's supposed to actually live. See how far down it is now? Okay. So now the objective is to push it over into that notch. So I just got to push it straight over. Now this one, I'll just make sure it's all the way down there too, by the way, because you want to make sure it's seated. It just stops with friction. So good, I've got a good seat on it. Now I can take the flathead and just push it over, because I'm not trying to scoop it out. I'm just trying to push it over to that notch. Again, keeping in mind that I want to make sure that the magazine doesn't cheat itself in a little bit. I'm going to hold it in there with my thumb and just push it straight over. And got to come from the very top of this thing, because it's not a lot of room to bend. There you go. That sounded good, huh? There we go. Now, look at that. Got it seated. Let me show it to you real quick here. I guess we'll come up from this way. See, there it is, seated in there. All right, and there's the action right here. Let me go like this, I guess this is how we'll do it. And there we go. Now it looks good, huh? Pop a magazine in there. Voila. Yeah, baby. Now we're talking. So we've got it installed. And that's it. It was really the simplest procedure going. I mean, it takes a couple specialty tools, and that curved, pick is actually a really valuable lesson there. And then we're going to go ahead and put our top back on. Every once in a while, the guide rod will jump into the second level, so I always make sure it's on that first notch, the rounded notch. People ask all the time, well, when I take the gun apart, the guide rod is up here. Is that, something wrong? No, it just does that naturally. So, don't worry about that. Just put it back in place when you go there. We'll put the slide back on top using the rails as a guide. And sometimes it gets a little hicked up, and that's just normal. And sometimes you have to push down on it, just like I did there with my thumb, just to make it, clear. And then we're done. Voila. And here's our magazine. And there's our test. Ooh, very nice. And again, I've got it in silver. Of course, it's available in black and gold and blue and red and pink. And that is our extended checkered magazine release button for your Glock 43X or your Glock 48. I'm Lenny Magill. This is the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop here in San Diego. If you're ever in San Diego or close to Southern California, make a point to come down and see our shop. I think you'll be really impressed. And we got some great people out there. First of all, really every Glock you can imagine to look at. And we've got a shooting range, and you can test any Glock and all these custom accessories that we show on our website. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.